Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Deliana Dasari Ramadan, and here me and my friends would like to present our material in the Grammar in Multimodal Discourse course. With the material is about multimodal interactional analysis to the classroom activities. Here we have 8 outlines. The first is introduction, a multimodal approach, student silent in Japan, interpersonal relationship, methodology, task analysis, and the last is conclusion. So now we'll go to the first outline, that is introduction. So this paper reports on the research that conducted with a view to better understanding classroom interaction between learners performing tasks. Jadi artikel ini melaporkan tentang penelitian yang dilakukan dengan maksud untuk memahami interaksi kelas antara peserta didik yang melakukan tugas. Tasks have been used in the language classroom for over 30 years and have come to be seen as a fundamental concept in EFL teaching pedagogy, Samuda NBK 2008, so that understanding the nature of this task has become a major concern of the research on the language learning. Jadi tugas ini telah digunakan di kelas bahasa selama lebih dari 30 tahun dan telah dilakukan sebagai konsep dasar dalam pedagogi pengajaran di EFL konteks, sehingga sifat tugas ini telah menjadi perhatian utama peneliti tentang pembelajaran bahasa. And meanwhile, task-based pedagogy focuses on classroom interaction. Research into the use of language learning tasks has tended to take a statistical approach that neglect analysis of concrete example of classroom interaction. Jadi, pedagogi berbasis tugas ini berfokus pada interaksi kelas. Penelitian tentang penggunaan tugas pembelajaran bahasa cenderung mengambil pendekatan statistik yang mengabaikan analisis contoh konkret interaksi kelas. Where empirical studies have been undertaken, these have tended to focus on how task types relate to the learning potential, mostly in terms of inner cognitive processing and linguistic structure. So, according to Hellerman and Dohler 2010, di mana studi empiris ini telah dilakukan, cenderung memiliki fokus tentang bagaimana jenis tugas berhubungan dengan potensi belajar, sebagian besar dalam hal pemrosesan kognitif dan struktur linguistik. And it is claimed that potential for learning are locally contingent and based upon participant orientation to one another, as evidence in empirical studies that have adopted an ethnomethodology or conversation analysis or CA approach to analyzing how classroom interaction is co-constructed by participants. Jadi dikatakan bahwa potensi untuk belajar bergantung dan berbasis pada lokal atas orientasi peserta satu sama lain, sebagaimana dibuktikan dalam studi empiris yang mengadopsi pendekatan etnometodologi atau analisis percakapan or CA untuk menganalisis bagaimana interaksi kelas dikoordinasikan oleh peserta. Jadi intinya artikel ini tuh membahas tentang bagaimana interaksi antara murid dan satu sama lain dalam pengerjaan tugas. So now we move to the multimodal approach. As I said in the introduction, that ethnomethodology and CA seek to understand how participants co-construct talk moment to moment through a detailed analysis of transcript of talk in interaction. But according to Sidhouse 1999 claims that the language contained in transcript of task-based interaction may seem impoverished and esoteric to L2 teachers due to the participant tendency to indexicality and minimalization when completing a task. Jadi pendekatan yang diambil dalam paper ini adalah ethnomethodology dan CA atau conversation analysis yang berupaya memahami bagaimana peserta mengkoordinasikan pembicaraan dari waktu ke waktu melalui analisis terperinci dari transkrip pembicaraan interaksi. Tetapi menurut Sidhouse, dia mengklaim bahwa bahasa yang terkandung dalam transkrip interaksi berbasis tugas ini tampak miskin dan esoterik bagi L2 teachers atau EFL teachers, karena kecenderungan para peserta ini dalam indexicality dan minimalisasi ketika menyelesaikan tugas. Jadi dalam bahasa yang disederhanakan dalam penyelesaian tugasnya. And then participant tends to use oversimplified and context-dependent language when completing a task, so that understanding the alternatives they produce requires a true understanding of the context of use, which is not always easy to garner from a transcript of audio data. Jadi di mana peserta didik ini cenderung menggunakan bahasa yang terlalu disederhanakan dan tergantung pada konteks ketika menyelesaikan tugas. Jadi sehingga memahami perkataan yang mereka hasilkan itu butuh pemahaman yang menyeluruh tentang konteks penggunaan dan yang tidak selalu mudah diperoleh dari transkrip audio data. As video recording technology has advanced and become easier to use, it is now possible to perform more detailed analysis of interaction that may offer valuable insight into how tasks are performed by learners. Jadi karena di era teknologi yang semakin maju ini, perekaman video telah maju dan bisa lebih mudah digunakan. Jadi sekarang ini memungkinkan untuk melakukan analisis interaksi yang lebih rinci yang dapat menawarkan berbagai wawasan berharga tentang bagaimana tugas-tugas dilakukan oleh para siswa dan pelajar. Okay, now so we move to the student silence in Japan. One reason for adopting a multimodal approach in this study is the frequent occurrence of student silence in classroom in Japan. Jadi alasan kenapa mengadopsi pendekatan multimodal ini karena di konteks pembelajaran di Jepang itu siswanya cenderung menggunakan keheningan dalam pembelajaran. Student silence may be a more common feature of Japan learners' classroom behavior, and according to Morita 2004 shows that not all Japanese learners are passive in class, and that those who do utilize silence often do so as they actively engage in negotiating their identities. Jadi menurut Morita 2004 itu bahwa keheningan siswa mungkin merupakan fitur yang lebih umum dari perilaku kelas pelajar di Jepang. Dia mengatakan bahwa tidak semua pelajar Jepang itu pasif di kelas, dan mereka yang memanfaatkan keheningan sering melakukan karena mereka secara aktif terlibat dalam menegosiasikan identitas diri mereka. Jadi tidak semuanya aktif, tetapi mereka juga yang cenderung diam itu ternyata aktif juga karena dia tuh sedang menegosiasikan identitas mereka. Jadi mereka juga secara tidak langsung terlibat dalam aktivitas di kelas tersebut. However, in this study of interaction that have adopted of CA approach, silence often appears as something of a black hole in the data. For example, in study of Japanese learners performing tasks. Jadi dalam studi interaksi yang mengadopsi pendekatan tadi, conversation analysis of CA yang sering diam itu jadi muncul sesuatu sebagai lubang hitam dalam data. Dikatakan lubang hitam dalam data itu kan kalau misalnya CA itu membahas tentang conversation analysis, sedangkan murid-murid di Jepang itu konteksnya lebih ke keheningan. Jadi ada sedikit data yang kurang tepat gitu. Misalnya dalam yang tadi dalam pembelajaran bahasa di Jepang. According Stone 2012 suggests that silence may perform a positive role in determining a particular group's dynamics in the classroom. But through his analysis of transcript of audio data, he does not show and it is not able to show what is going on while the learners are silent. Jadi Stone itu mengemukakan bahwa keheningan dapat melakukan peran positif dalam menentukan dinamika kelompok tertentu di dalam kelas. Tetapi melalui analisis transkrip data audio, dia itu tidak menemukan dan tidak menunjukkan gitu apa yang sedang terjadi ketika para siswa itu diam. Jadi jadi tidak sinkron gitu antara pelajar sama data analisis yang akan digunakan dengan CA, conversation analysis. And then to overcome the problem in the student learning in Japan, By taking a multimodal approach and analyzing the other modes that learners are utilizing to co-construct their interaction, we may be able to get a clearer idea of exactly how they co-produce their identities and co-construct interaction even while silent. According to Norris 2011, view of identity as something that is often inadvertently constructed by and visible in the everyday action that people perform. Jadi untuk mengatasi masalah tersebut dengan mengambil pendekatan multimodal dan menganalisis model lain yang digunakan peserta didik untuk membangun interaksi mereka. Nah, kita juga bisa mendapatkan ide yang lebih jelas tentang bagaimana mereka bersama-sama menghasilkan identitas sebagai sesuatu yang sering kali dilakukan secara tidak sengaja, dibangun oleh data dan terlihat dalam tindakan sehari-hari yang dilakukan oleh mereka sendiri. So, jadi intinya di sini tuh menggunakan CA and ethnomethodology approach untuk learners context in Japan.
Okay, the next material is about interpersonal relationships. According to Kaplan and Duff 1994 and Harris 2005, research has shown that different groups of learners will perform the same task in different ways and accordingly with different learning outcomes. As we know that each individual has different abilities, has different mindset, has different way of learning, and so on. Ya, seperti yang kita tahu bahwa kemampuan setiap individu itu pasti berbeda-beda. Pola berpikir setiap individu itu pasti berbeda-beda dan cara belajar mereka juga pasti akan berbeda-beda. For example, when student A and student B in the same class, in the same course, and in the same teacher, and then the teacher give them the assignment, kemudian siswa dan siswa B tersebut pasti menjawab assignment tersebut dengan cara mereka sendiri. Terlebih kalau tugasnya itu adalah dalam bentuk esai, pasti mereka akan menjawab dengan cara mereka sendiri, dengan pola pikir mereka sendiri tentunya. So from that, they will definitely get different learning outcomes. Young 2009 said that student behavior and therefore task performance is affected by the social environment in which it occurs, and students' interpersonal relationships are argued to play an important role in defining the classroom environment, according to Darney and Marpy 2003. And then Stone and Kidd 2011 said it is claimed that natural friendship grouping among students will impact upon classroom interaction and learning. Social environment such as friendship environment will have an impact on someone's learning. Dengan siapa kita berteman, dengan siapa kita bergaul, dan lingkungan kita seperti apa, itu akan berdampak terhadap hasil pembelajaran seseorang. For example, when the environment around us is good, kemudian teman-teman di sekitar kita orang-orangnya baik, orang-orangnya yang rajin dalam belajar, pintar-pintar, it will have a good impact for us. Seperti contohnya yang tadinya kita malas dalam belajar gitu. Ketika kita bergabung dengan orang-orang di sekeliling kita yang rajin dalam belajar, maka kita akan terbawa rajin juga dalam belajar. Seperti itu. The next material is about methodology. In methodology, there are 3 sections. The first one is participant, the second one is data interpersonal relationship, and then the third one is data multimodal interactional analysis. The first one is participant. Penelitian ini dilakukan oleh satu kelas siswa bahasa Inggris mahasiswa baru di Universitas Swasta di Jepang, which has a strong focus on interactional studies and foreign language education. The class has 25 students, 6 diantaranya adalah siswa laki-laki dan sisanya adalah perempuan, and meets for English lesson for 9 hours a week. Semua peserta berusia 18 sampai 19 tahun dan tingkat bahasa Inggris mereka itu setara dengan skor 400 sampai 500 pada tes TOEIC. The researcher only focused on the interaction of one male student with the initial R, berumur 19 tahun, dan dia sangat termotivasi untuk belajar bahasa Inggris. That's a participant. And then the second one is data interpersonal relationship. The first phase of the study involved describing the social makeup of the classroom. Data collection and interpretation centered on two main methods. Yang pertama itu melibatkan perekaman posisi duduk yang dipilih siswa selama 1 semester. Nah, seperti ini. This is the classroom setting. Selama mereka 1 semester, mereka duduk seperti ini. Gambar ini untuk menggambarkan siswa mana yang sering duduk dekat dengan satu dan yang lainnya. Asumsinya adalah bahwa siswa yang memilih untuk secara teratur duduk berdekatan, kemungkinan besar dia memiliki hubungan sosial. Sedangkan mereka yang tidak duduk berdekatan, kemungkinan besar mereka tidak memiliki hubungan sosial. Seperti ini, mereka yang duduk berdekatan memiliki hubungan sosial, dan mereka yang tidak duduk berdekatan tidak memiliki hubungan sosial. Seperti itu. Selanjutnya, alat penelitian yang kedua disebut dengan relationship circle atau lingkaran hubungan. This is the relationship circle. Ini dirancang untuk mengumpulkan perspektif siswa tentang hubungan sosial siswa yang ada di dalam ruang kelas dan dikelola pada akhir semester pertama pada tahun akademik tersebut. Setiap siswa diberikan sepotong kertas yang dicetak lingkaran seperti ini. Kemudian semua nama siswa di kelas ditulis di sekitar lingkaran, dan setiap siswa diminta untuk menggambarkan baris yang menghubungkan siswa yang mereka anggap sebagai teman dekat. Di sini ditulis nama-nama siswa yang ada di kelas, kemudian diminta untuk menggambarkan garis yang mereka anggap sebagai teman dekat mereka. Nah, ini ada garis seperti itu. Mereka juga diminta untuk menambahkan keterangan lingkaran untuk menjelaskan pilihan mereka tersebut. Nah, data ini kemudian dikombinasikan dengan peta tempat duduk untuk menghasilkan diagram sosiometrik seperti ini. Ini adalah gambar sosiometric diagram illustrating the social groups and connections within the class. Seperti ini bentuk sosiometric diagramnya. Selanjutnya, yang ketiga ada data multimodal interactional analysis. Nah, pendekatan untuk analisis ini menggunakan metodologi yang dijelaskan oleh Norris pada tahun 2004, 2008, dan 2011. Interaksi multimodal Norris analysis berusaha untuk menggambarkan dan menganalisis bagaimana interaksi dikoordinasikan oleh siswa melalui interaksi mode yang terletak. Setelah peneliti mendokumentasikan susunan sosial kelas, kemudian melanjutkan dengan merekam video dan menganalisis siswa yang sedang mengerjakan tugas, kemudian menghasilkan transkrip multimodal dari rekaman video tersebut untuk memfasilitasi analisis interaksional. Yang dianalisis oleh peneliti tersebut adalah proxemics, pandangan, postur, gerakan kepala, tata letak, dan kedekatan antara siswa satu dengan yang lainnya dengan mengambil tangkapan layar video pada satu titik yang relevan. Transkrip dari mode nonverbal yang berbeda kemudian digabungkan dengan transkrip bahasa yang diucapkan atau menggunakan sistem notasi yang dijelaskan dalam Segloff tahun 2000. Analisis transkrip ini dibantu dengan penggunaan catatan lapangan yang dilakukan pada saat rekaman dilakukan. Nah, the focus is not on what participants say they are doing, but on what they actually do.
The next is about tax. The tax under study is an adaptation of the transcription tax described in Stilwell et al. 2010. This tax was designed to promote deeper reflection and noticing of language among learners by asking them to transcribe and analyze an audio recording of themselves during a presentation. So, after they completed the analysis, they repeated the presentation a week later. This allowed learners to concentrate on improving their ability, improving their fluency during the task, while focusing on accuracy and complexity when analyzing the transcripts in the post-task phase. But these tasks were to use video rather than audio recordings and to replace the presentation with a small group discussion. Because the main aim of the tasks as used in this class was for learners to practice conversation strategies in preparation for the spoken component of in-house examinations. And next, the task sequence was repeated 3 times in this semester, and the data under study described the 3rd time these learners had performed it. So the learners were assigned into groups of 3 or 4 and asked to discuss a conversation questions for 8 minutes. And then the questions which they had not seen before was given to learners by the teacher at the start of the task on a piece of paper. So the question related to content area that they had been studying for the previous week. So the learners were expected to have sufficient vocabulary and content knowledge to allow them to participate fully in the task. And then next is learners had extensively studied and practiced conversational strategies in class, such as turn taking, eliciting, starting and conversation. Starting conversations. So they were expected to be able to participate in the discussion and also develop their ability to use these conversational strategies. Using video recordings allows students to analyze not only the language that they used, but also the gestures and body language that they used. As this was a language class, language was still the main focus, but students were also able to see how their use of other words, of other modes, like using gesture, if affected the ways in which the interaction was constructed.
So we come to the analysis of the research. This is the core of the research, so make sure that you already listened to the explanations before about the methodological framework and then the tasks, as well as the introductions to the context or the topic here. So I'd like to remind you that the framework of this research is methodological framework based on Norris 2004. Multimodal interactions analysis attempts to describe and analyze how interaction are co-constructs by participants through a situated interplay by modes. So here the researchers not only observe the language, or because of the context is how to learning English through the EFL learners, how to give English teaching to EFL learners in Japan. So the researchers are not only teaching but also observing their interpersonal relationship and through a multimodal analysis. So the instrument here are the video recording and text analysis. The focus data is on R's performance. So R is one of the participants. The total number of the participants are 25 students, and the researchers wanted to focus on R because she found that R is very interesting because he have different attitudes towards different groups. We already mentioned, my friends before, that there are symmetric. So R here, with his arms folded across his body and his legs underneath the table, while A and M postures are more open because they know each other, and then whereas A and M's legs are also crossed, like closer to the M, whereas R's are tucked away underneath his body. So R is completely really insecure here. All we can say is disengaged. Because of what? The positioning of feet, according to Norris, can give insights into a person's main focus. Here, A and M's feet point towards each other while R are turned away under his chair. So we can see here that the relationship between them. So A and M are very close, and while R very outgrouping. So while they are constructing their identities as students by sitting in the classroom and reading a handout and then follow the teacher instructions, so on, M's mutual engagement as indicating their body language can be seen as also constructing their identities as friends, as I already mentioned before. So in the third picture, A uses rising intonation on Y, indicating that she has finished her turn at talk and she opening the conversational floor up to another participant. So A already read aloud about the handout and then trying to open the conversations, trying to open the discussions by asking why. But then the answer the answers of A are just and while air still quiet, like 5 seconds of silence, and then so R we can observe by his behavior or his positions in this excerpt 1. So R lifts his left hand to his chin and continues to gaze at the question on the paper, keeping his right arm as barrier across his body. The chin stroking gesture that he performs is described as a decision-making signal, according to Kinsey Grumman 2008, suggesting that he is engaged in thought. But neither A nor M looks at R at this moment, while M doesn't look up from the paper either. She demonstrates that she is contemplating her response with non-lexical token by saying, it means that she actively participating in the interaction, just allowing her time to formulate the response. And then we come to the excerpt 2. R remains his closed body, crossed arms, legs throughout his turn, directing his gaze at his paper handout on the desk as he speaks. So dari yang pertama, excerpt yang pertama, dia tetap kayak memasukkan kakinya, kemudian mengangkat tangannya seperti ini, kemudian mengembalikannya lagi. Kemudian di excerpt 2, dia masih tetap diam dan kemudian posisinya masih seperti sama. Tapi pada kali ini dia berbicara. He makes the end of his turn, and after he talks, he said that that's all. It means that he focused on his own turn at talk, at least his talk. That was the point of him. But we can see that he doesn't even looks up from the text or looking to the A or M, even nominate them to speak up or answer the response of the R's answer, but he doesn't. So from excerpt 1 and excerpt 2, the researcher conclude that he didn't really practice the fluency skills that were intended to be at the heart of the text. So we have to remember that the point of the discussion is to discuss, to negotiate, to speak up English with English, but then he didn't do that. He just talk like when it's needed, but he doesn't even talking to the A, whether A or he just talk like for about a couple of minutes, and then he's done. And then we come to the excerpt 3. In excerpt 3, I have to tell you that this is the different context. Excerpt 1 and excerpt 2 are collaborated with M and A, which are a different group with him in sociometric diagrams. But here in excerpt 3 and 4, R is collaborated with T and S. They are males and they are in group with him in sociometric diagram. So we can see here that the differences between in the 1 and 2 excerpts and then the 3 or 4 excerpts. So we can see here that R has not still elected or positioned himself on the periphery of the group. So we can remember that the R are still like or choose his chairs like in the middle of M or A, which is very awkward, and then he just put the chair like further from them. But then in his time, R is positioned himself in front of the 2 males, in front of his friends, in front of T and S, so in front of T and S, so they can see, so they can facing the R like directly. So we come to the excerpt 3 and excerpt 4. So I have to remind you that the excerpt 3 and 4 are in different contexts with a different classroom and then different groups. R is collaborated with T and S. So they are males. They are in group with him in sociometric diagrams. So we can analyze. We can observe which one or is it will be same as excerpt 1 and excerpt 2, which are R is the only males, and he completely disengaged with M or A in excerpt 1 and excerpt 2. We can see from the answers, we can see from the body movement, so on and so forth, and then now we can see from excerpt 3 and 4 which are collaborated with his friends. So the position himself, So in excerpt 3, R positioned himself facing directly to T and S, so they can facing R. We can see from the presentation slides here. So this is R, and so they are T and S, so they can facing R. So there will be no disengage. After that, so R trying to make himself visible for M, for S and T. And then A trying to read aloud of the handouts, and then a couple of times after A reading aloud the handout, and a couple of times gazing to R, he nominates R to speak with the excerpt. So what do you think, R? And then in the excerpt 4, which can be found at top page of 13 in the article, shows R's turn to talk. Finally, he turned to talk and reaches the end of each of the uteruses, and then he nominates the next speaker to respond or to giving his opinion about the paper. He also, R, also giving a back channels response to the whether S or T, giving back channels such as yes, and then gazing them, which is very different with the excerpt 1 and excerpt 2 with M and A. And then in excerpt 3 and 4, unlike excerpt 2 and 1, we can see how R is taking an active role by exchanging gazes, gesturing, verbally nominating the next speaker, and signaling that he's paying attention with non-verbal back channels. R's posture is also much more open than it was, so demonstrating that this is in giving an engagement with the R with him through both verbal and non-verbal modes. And then R attends more to conversation techniques in this group than he did when working with A and M, therefore engages more with the aims of the task. This is not to suggest that his performance with A and M is somehow inappropriate, you have to remember that, but rather that from a pedagogical viewpoint, he was not practicing the conversation techniques that were intended to be central aim of the task.
Okay, next in discussions, students' interpersonal relationship will affect task performance. So it should be a concern of practicing language learners when assigning students to groups in the classrooms. Analysis results shows that when in a group with students outside his immediate friendship group, except 1 and 2, R takes a more silent and passive role in the discussion task, focusing more on producing with his own response to the discussion questions than on interpersonal aspects of the interactions. But when in a group with members of his friendship group, he takes a more active role, not only focusing on responding to the questions, but also attending to more discursive elements of the interactions, such as turn taking and back channeling. Interactional behavior is inculcated in a specific social and cultural context. Norris 2004 argues that we should consider the norms of the culture and individual understudy when coming to conclusion about the meaning of the interactional behavior. And in this paper, have not been able to consider as general interactional behavior are indeed cultural norms in Japan. It shows that R clearly behaves quite indifferently in the two groups, and that the other participants in the two groups display different orientation to him. And next, the difference in his behavior can be explained by the interpersonal relationships of the group members, and that it is also possible that the gender of the participant may be of importance. So we can conclude that an individual can and will perform a very similar task quite differently on different occasions, and that the other members of the group he or she is working in will have some impact on his or her performance, or affecting how he or she will engage with the aims of the task. So that understanding the nature of the social makeup of a class or a group should be a concern of language teachers. Taking a multimodal interaction analysis approach to analyzing classroom interaction can give a valuable insight into what is going on in a classroom and raise important questions about classroom interaction for the language teachers. That's all from us. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.